Way too much. So, okay, let us do it, guys. Let us do it. We're gonna do the discussion. So, what do I think of this game? I played, as a little bit of history, I played through the entire beta process, as in every single closed beta that I had access to on Steam. I didn't do any of them off Steam, but I did the ones on Steam. And the reason is very simple. There was an entire lawsuit situation about a year ago where we didn't know if the makers of Dark and Darker Iron Mace had ended up stealing, because they were accused of stealing from Nexon, the entire code basis and skins and coding and all kinds of stuff for this game from the large Korean gaming company Nexon. Now, this was up in the air. I didn't think Iron Mace did anything untoward, but we didn't know. And so as a result, and Nexon is a giant company, so as a result of pressure from Nexon, the game was removed from closed beta access from Steam. Steam, if there's something like this, Steam has to be like, all right, there is a question. This does have a legal standing. This is something you guys got to fight out in court before we put you back on Steam. So for the last entire year, this game was not allowed on Steam. So, but before that, I had done 3 separate closed betas, and of various qualities, of various, information given in, various balances. Some of the games were more jank than others, and so on and so forth. But that was my history. And so I played a lot, and then they had several closed betas off Steam via a torrenting, and then through Epic Game Store, and then also before that, in the middle, its own platform called Blacksmith, I think is what it's called, or something like that. And so they did all of that. But now it is officially back on Steam, which means, hopefully, the majority, if not all, of the legal issues are solved. So whether it was, I know some of the lawsuits were thrown out. I know some of them were, it's just found that, Nexon did not have a strong enough case, and so on and so forth. But either way, the standing of Iron Mace is good enough that they were allowed to put the game back on Steam. So this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Now, how do I feel about the game itself? I think that a lot of people had a big misnomer of what does the Steam free to play mean. And as a result, we see on Steam's store page that the game is now mixed. It was completely, I think it was mostly negative yesterday. And this was due to them saying it was free to play. Everyone got really pissed off because they bought the game, or they downloaded the game, they realized they could only make one character, they could only do certain dungeons, they could only do this, they could only do that. There's a bunch of limitations, which happens to free-to-play games, and that was a big issue. I think that was more of a communications error, which is on Iron Mace's end, but I think that it was only really that. Looking at the game, outside looking in, having played the game in closed beta and seeing how it's grown from there, I can say that I think that the only real issue is communication. And they are a Korean company. They do have a lot of Koreans on the team that created the game, and so on and so forth. So, some leeway, I think, should be given for miscommunication. The game itself plays very well. The optimization of the game has only gotten better. The gameplay has only gotten smoother. They've added 2 entire maps since the first early access, and 1 map since I last played the last early access. Where can I find the maps? Here it is. So the Frost Mountain was the one I'd never played at all. The Goblin Caves and the Ruins were the ones that I had played previously. And so what is locked behind free-to-play? Let me be a little bit clear. So as a free-to-play player, you cannot do the high roller dungeons at all. They're completely locked out, which means you cannot utilize, as a free-to-play player, any green or higher items that you find on the map. Basically, if you extract with those, you have to sell them. So you can still utilize them to get money out of them and, fill your character with gray or, I think, white items is the highest item level you can put in to the actual normal game mode, the low roller dungeons. But this is actually more of a balancing than anything else. Because one thing I noticed and one thing I'd taken advantage of is they added something called high roller dungeons, which is like you have to spend, I think, what is it, 100 gold to get into the dungeon, and it's like much harder enemies, and there's like, you know, crazy bosses and all kinds of craziness that goes on. And this wasn't a bad thing, because what people would do was they would deck their character completely out. There was no item limit in normal dungeons. You would bring in like rares and like, you know, sometimes even legendaries if you had them, epics or whatever, and you would just roll over and one-shot everyone in whatever dungeon run you were doing. So this is kind of more of like an ELO system almost, and like kind of just evens the playing field. So you can go in at a relatively even level into any one of these dungeons, not be able to use any greens or rares or epics or anything like that, and you're kind of on a relatively similar playing field as everyone else. This is not a bad thing. This is going to be a thing whether you are buying the game or whether you're fully free to play. Now, the only downside is that if you're free to play, you have no access to High Roller Dungeon. Not really a bad thing. Basically, I would say that the High Roller Dungeon is impossible for, I would say, 80% of the player base to play anyways. So if you download the game thinking you can do the High Roller Dungeon, trust me, believe me, you cannot. It is incredibly difficult to do the High Roller Dungeon. I would not recommend even really trying it until you get really good at playing the game. This game is extremely hard to get into. Now, it's not bad. It's just, you know, difficult to get into. Beyond that, I think the monetization of this game is very fair. So I've already given you the values of this game. It's extremely difficult. It's very unique, very fun, very hard. But the monetization is pretty good. So it does this as a legendary status thing. The way to upgrade your game is a little convoluted, but it's not bad. I did look into it a little bit, and it's actually not too bad. So the way you have to do it is you need 15 of these redstones. The only way to get redstones, there are two different currencies in the game. There's blue stones and redstones. Now, blue stones you earn by extracting. Every time you extract, you get one blue stone, which means you could get pretty much almost all the cosmetics, not all of them, but almost all of them, completely free. Because in the what's it called? In the cosmetic store, pretty much almost every cosmetic is either, you know, a certain amount of blue stones or a certain amount of red stones, including the race changes. The race changes actually give you benefits. However, all of them you can get for just extracting. So if I extracted if I extracted several more times, I would be able to become a lizard man, for example. And that's just, or I could pay for it. So this is not a bad thing. This is actually pretty good how they did that. Now, the redstones itself, they're quite well priced. It's for every one redstone, it's essentially the equivalent of 2 USD. And that is it. So in order to buy the game, the full access of the game, being able to make multiple characters, and so on and so forth, it is $30, and that is it. Just one-time cost, $30. And any extra redstones you want, if you want them, you can buy extras to buy these extra skins. For example, the Lycan, you do have upsides and downsides to every skin. In the Lycan, you cannot wear headgear, which is pretty big downside. However, you get a flat 3 vigor. So for certain classes, it might be good. Some certain classes might be bad. It's not really a bad thing. The other really good thing is the only other thing hidden behind paywall is nothing else. As soon as you become the legendary status, you get the multiple character slots, you get the shared stash as opposed to a one-person stash. But this is a misnomer because when you're a free-to-play player, you can only make one character. So there is no shared stash because there's no shared characters. There's no extra characters or anything like that. And also, you can't sell to other people, which is not a big deal. So I would say the monetization for this game is very fair. This game is absolutely worth $30. And it's like not even close. It's like not even close. I would pay $40, $45 for this game easily. 60, someone said in chat they would play 60. I mean, I don't know if I would pay $60 for this game, but I would pay definitely $45. I think 45 is like very, very good. The Steam implementation is sucks your nuts. I think like the Steam implementation, considering what they did, I think it would have been better if they made it very clear that basically all you needed to do was buy the game on here for $30. I don't know why they did this. Now, I was a little worried that Iron Mace was trying to, like, squeeze Steam and basically make you pay for the upgrade via Blacksmith or whatever, their, a third-party source. But I can tell you that this is not the case, at least. When you press the, and I did this, I don't want to show my IRL info or anything like that, but when I tried to do this just to see what it was like, yeah, I know, Tyler, you're such a goofball. So Tyler is saying that you can't gift this game, and that's what he's trying to say. You're too kind. But the way this works is if you press the $30 USD over here for the 15 redstone shards in order to upgrade the game, you just press the buy button and you buy it through Steam, which is a good thing. So except for gifting, that is kind of like screwed over here. But for the actual game itself, the way it works is, I know, Tyler. The way it works itself is not too rough. You press the buy button, it brings up a Steam page. You don't have to download Blacksmith or any other bullshit, no third-party thing that is required or anything like that. It goes through Steam, and I assume you just get the shards, and then you can just click this button, upgrade it, and then you're done. So, that's pretty good. I would say this game's very worth it. I think the gameplay is only improved. It looks like they're still adding systems. This is like the perk system. Sorry, the skill system. We don't know what the skill system looks like. However, they did add the quest system for everyone, so we can all use the quests. I started the quest. I haven't turned in any fully yet because there's like a lot of steps to them. But they can easily be done by free-to-play players, and there's no like easier way to do it as a buy-to-play player at all. Yeah, lots of good stuff. You can group up with people completely free, and basically the only real limitation is that as a free-to-play player, in order to play a different class, you would have to delete your character and then recreate your class as something else. So like, say I'm a barbarian and I wanted to become a druid. I would have to, in order to try the druid, completely destroy my character and recreate it as a druid. However, it's not too long to level in just, like, what is it? 1 real extraction, and I would say 5 dungeon attempts where I died, I got to level 13, which means I unlocked almost all of the perk slots. Basically, maybe 1 more extraction or 2 more deaths, I would unlock my last perk slot. And then I would be on pretty much even playing field with everyone else. Yeah, exactly. It's a good free-to-play system unless you're a content creator. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think this game is very good. I think it's very worth it. And I think if people realize what is locked behind paywall, what isn't, and so on and so forth, I think you will only see the Steam reviews go up. Because right now, if you look at the information and people's reviews and stuff, basically people are only really pissed off about the fact that they have only 1 character slot as a free-to-play player, and they think they're screwed over somehow from other things, and you're not really. I think they haven't really done. I don't think they've really done their research. I think this is totally fine. And I think this is a very worth it game. I think, yeah, maybe they should have called it a demo. That would have been smarter. But I think besides that, it is not too bad. And I think the negative repercussions are a little bit overblown. Should Iron Mace have known better than to call it free to play? And did they kind of like, maybe make people rush the market a little bit and download the game saying it's free to play and there are caveats? Yes. Does it actually really affect too much in the grand scheme of things? No, not really. Because $30 is very fair price for this game. And you don't even need to buy anything via cosmetics at all. Like, you could go through the entire game with just 1 character if you wanted, and just get a whole bunch of cosmetics just from playing the game. So yeah, that's my, I would say that this game is probably a, out of 10, I would say this game right now is an 8 out of 10, considering what all you can do. You can do almost everything free to play. And I think when they add and flesh out the quest systems, we don't know exactly more about the quest system yet. I think the miscommunication docks a point. And I think the fact that like the skills are not in the game yet and such are also docks a bit of a point. But gameplay wise, it's much better. And I think that this is a very viable game. I think $30 is very fair. And I will update my view after I buy the Legendary Edition, the $30. And I'll if there's any updates, I will definitely let you guys know. And if you guys like this review, if you guys like the information, give it a like, give it a sub, give this video a share for your friends, and tell me what your favorite or least favorite aspects of this game are below. And hopefully I will see you in the dungeons, and we're going to have some fun.